So I found this yarn at Michael's several months ago and I noticed this pattern on it and I thought it was a very cute little shawl idea with the little ruffles and things. So I thought, why not try it? And so it requires 3 balls of the yarn. So I got 3 balls of the yarn and I thought, why not go through it with you guys? So I've been playing with it this morning while my kiddo was in violin. I took the pattern off of one of the balls of yarn already and started examining it. And I took some scrap yarn and started to try to figure out the pattern to see if I could understand what was happening with the pattern. So let's just jump in and get into it, shall we? So this does require a 5mm crochet hook, which I have right here. It's an H8 5mm. It's a 4-weight yarn, so just in case you're not necessarily using this yarn, I do like it though. I like the colors. This is the scrap yarn I was using. You might recognize it from one of my other videos where I was doing a scarf. I love the bright, varied colors, and this one's a little softer, obviously, but still all that pretty color mix. I love the colors. All right, let's get into it. So one more thing I would note before we get started, this does involve a lot of, excuse me, different crochet stitches. So we're doing double crochet. I think I saw, we're doing like triple front post, triple back post, double crochet, 2 together, things like that. So I'm not saying you can't do this if you're a beginner, but if you are an absolute beginner, you might find yourself getting a little frustrated or confused. So don't. Maybe just put a pin in this until you learn some of the stitches and get more comfortable. But otherwise, we're just going to try. I haven't done this yet, so I'm learning as well. So we're going to start with our slip stitch. To begin with, pull the yarn over, pull that front one up a little bit, pull through. Oh, try not to snag your yarn like I just did. And voila, our slip stitch. So we're going to start with a chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now we're going to be working in our very first chain, 4th chain from the hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So our very first chain, and we're going to double crochet into that 6 times. So into that very first chain, so yarn over, into the first chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. And we're going to do that 6 more times. Let me move this little guy back here. All right, so yarn over, through 2, through 2. Okay. So that's 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so now we have this little curvy, almost a half circle situation. Now we're not chaining 1. It doesn't say to do that, which is kind of my normal impulse, but here we are finished this. We're going to turn and we're going to double crochet 7. So we're just double crocheting back across. So after a few attempts at this, if you look at the top, that's going to be the easiest place to see where your next double crochets go into. So with the roundness of this, I noticed that kind of turning that top a little bit to really see where the top of the stitches are is going to be helpful. So we're going into that very first stitch right here. So yarn over, go in, double crochet. Oh, in theory, this yarn is feeling very fuzzy. Love it though. Oh, come on now, ladies. There we go. Making me look bad. And then all the way across. So that's 1, 2. See how it wants to turn a little bit there, and that can be tricky to see. That's what I'm talking about. So we're not going through here, Okay, we're going to turn it a little bit and look where that stitch is and go through that stitch. Whoops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Oh, those last ones want to be a little sneaky sometimes, don't they? Okay, so now we have the beginnings of this little sort of half circle-ish shape. All right, so that was our first row. That was our foundation, and then that was our first row. So now we're going to do our second row. Okay, and for the second row, we're going to chain 3. We're going to turn it first of all. We're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Now this counts as a double crochet. All right, just for future reference. And now we're going to double crochet into that space right here. Okay, so now that should make sense. That chain and that first double crochet, that's giving us more or less the idea of 2 double crochets in that space. So now in the next 2 stitches, we're just doing single crochet. So, whoops, no yarn over. So single crochet in the next 2 stitches. So in, single crochet, single crochet. Okay. And then in this stitch, we're doing 5 double crochets. So 5 in the 3rd stitch. So yarn over, so that's 1, 2, let me pull a little bit of yarn here, swirly swirls. 3, 4, and 5, all in that same space. Okay, and I just realized I didn't tell you guys the color of this. This one is, and I'll try to remember and put it in the edit. So if you like this color, this one is Whipped Jelly. Isn't that cute? All right, so moving along. So we've got our 5 double crochets in the same space. And so then we're going to do, let me see, give me just 5 double crochets in the next, 1 double crochet in each of the next 2. So double crochet, and then in the next space double crochet. Okay, and then in the last one we're doing 2 double crochets. So in the very last stitch we're doing, let's find our last stitch there, right there, that's 1 and 2 in the last stitch. Okay, so it starts to create that bit of a shape. Okay, so the first couple of rows, it feels a little odd, but then I noticed that it does start to make sense. Because you would think you would do a single crochet, but for some reason, no. This was a very much trust the process sort of situation. So next step is to turn the work. Again, we're not doing a chain 1 or anything like that. We're just turning, and then we're doing 13 double crochets. So we're just 13 double crochets across in each of the stitches. So 1. Don't know why that first one is always so feisty. There we go. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, and I am counting these. I don't usually do that. 10, 11, because I just want to make sure that the numbers are actually coming out to what they're supposed to, because this does feel like a bit of an awkward, odd pattern at first. I had a couple of tries before it made sense to me. And then 13, that last little one right there. Get through there. Okay. If you sing at it, it helps, apparently. All right, so that is our next row right there. All right, so now for our third row, we're going to turn, and we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. We're going to double crochet in that first stitch. Okay, and then we're going to single crochet in the next 5 stitches. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, and 5. All right, now we're gonna create our pretty little, I always think they're like little petal shapes when you do all those double crochets in one. So now in the next one, we're gonna do 5 double crochets in the next space. Let me look at my notes over here, my pattern. So in this very next one, 5 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, so now it says to place a stitch marker in the center. So in that third one right here. So I don't actually have any stitch markers, but I have a lot of other crafty things like jewelry making supplies. So I just found this little fairy charms that I had put together a while back, and I'm just going to put you right there, a little hook. Look at that. That works just well, doesn't it? That works out great. I thought I might need a larger clasp, but that seems to work just well. So I put that one just on top of that third post right there that we made, right through there. So I've never used stitch markers really, which is why I don't have any. I haven't done any projects that really required them. So this will be new for me to kind of see, kind of figure out where those go. So, all right, so next thing we are doing, let me remember, I think we're just doing single crochets. Yes, so we're doing single crochets in the next 5. So single, 3, 4, and 5. And then we're doing 2 double crochets in the last one. Oh, sorry, I think I was going a little off camera trying to look at this. Okay, so in the very last one right here, it looks a little fuzzy. Looks like one big stitch, but it's this last one right here. We're doing 2 double crochets in that stitch. There we go. And 2. Okay. And so you can see that little interesting, the first time I did this on the other one, something weird happened. Oh, it's one of my rings. Something weird happened, and I ended up with a weird little arm off to the side on that one. So yeah, if that happens, that's not supposed to be there. But I don't think that's going to happen if you're following along with what I'm doing. So now we're going to turn this, and we are going to double crochet all the way down. So let me make sure, let me look at where I am before I tell you wrong. Yes, so now we're just turning the work, and we're going to double crochet back across here. So it should be 19 stitches across. Okay, so I did count 19 stitches, so that's 19 across, and I'll put little little boxes up here in the corner somewhere so that with all the pattern written out so that you guys can see it in case you want to jot down notes, pause and jot notes as well. I think that makes it a little easier. All right, so now it says for the 4th to the 29th rows. So now rows 4 through 29, we are going to basically create kind of the same pattern. So now we're going to turn our work. And this print is so small on this. I'm trying to see it from a distance, but I have to keep pausing and leaning over. So if my voice changes, like if it gets louder at times, I'm sorry. I didn't account for that. Okay, so chain 3, 2, 3, and then double crochet in that first stitch. Okay, and then we're going to, all right, double crochet in first stitch, double crochet in each stitch to marked stitch. All right, so that's what I was trying to remember. So this is where our little stitch marker is going to come in handy. So remember, this was our center, this was our middle one. So we're going to do double crochets all the way to where our stitch marker is, and when we get to that spot, so the chain that's just above it, that's where we're going to do our 5 double crochets into it. Okay, so double crochet, and that makes sense to have the little stitch marker there now that I think about it, because I guess it's just going to get wider, because doing those 2 double crochets on the end is how we're going to be increasing. That yarn is casting a shadow. So doing the 2 double crochets at the end, that is what's causing the increase. You may have, if you had watched the video where I just did the, what's it called, the little hammock, that's basically how we got the increase, was the 2 double crochets on the end. So that way you're not counting every single row. You're just like, oh, right here in the middle is where we do our 5 to create even more of an increase as well. And then that will ultimately create like a really pretty pattern here in the middle as well. You can kind of see that little, I always feel like they're like little flowers. They make me think of little flowers. So we're going to double crochet our little hearts out. The color's starting to change. I think I like color changing yarn like this because my brain gets bored. So I feel like somehow when the colors change, it stimulates my brain, my ADHD brain, and it just makes me happy. It just brings me joy. It's all about the little things in life, right? Sometimes you just have to take joy in the little things in life. All right, so to me, this looks like right above here. This is where we're going to do our 5 double crochets into that stitch right there. And give me just a second because my yarn is wrapped around my table weird over here. I don't have like a big fancy YouTube setup like some people do. It's just me and my phone and my very messy table. But it works, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then I do think that what will happen is by the time we get to the end of the row, yeah, you can see where those line up. So you see where the little flower shapes start to line up. So if it seems way off, or if it seems like your flower's over here, just undo that row and go back, right? And then we're just doing, let me double check, make sure I'm not telling you wrong. Yep, so now we're just going to double crochet in each of the spaces all the way down. And then in that very last space, we do 2 double crochets to keep the increase going. So a pretty simple pattern, really. I think it's just those first 3 rows that seem a little odd with the single crochet on one side and the double on the other, but I think it's just to create like that roundness. I'm not really sure why. The math on that doesn't make sense to me. But it seems to be working, so I'm going to trust the process, and I'm not going to question the crochet masters who came up with this pattern because I am nowhere near that level. But I think it's an interesting pattern to start with, and you could really do any kind of stitches with this if you wanted to get really creative with it as well. All right, so we're in our last stitch. Remember to kind of turn that last one, especially they want to start twisting around a bit. And 2 in that last one. And now we're going to take our little stitch marker, little cute patoot, and we're going to find our 3rd post, 1, 2, the one in the middle, and I'm just gonna put her right there as we move up the row. Boop, right there. I'm kind of happy with her. She brings me joy. All right, and then that's what we're doing the rest of the way. So that's basically the pattern. The chain 3, and then double crochet in the same, double crochet up until the middle, 5 double crochets in that space, double crochet all the way down, 2 double crochets in this last space until we get to row 29, or through row 29 really. So I will meet you guys back here for row 30, and we'll see how she's going. All right, so I have finished row 34, and this is where we're at now. So going into row 35, it's going to be a little bit of a different pattern. This is going to be to start the ruffles. And also, it says that by row 34, you should have 205 stitches. So if you want to count all your stitches along that row, I am not going to do that. I'm just gonna go on blind faith personally. But if you are curious, it is calling for 205 stitches on that row 34, so you know where you're at. So row 35, we are going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then it says to do 2 double crochets in the first stitch. It's the very first stitch right here. So that's 1 double crochet and 2 in that same stitch. So basically that's like having 3 double crochets in that first stitch because of our chain 3 that we did. And I need to add a little bit of yarn on here. I'm just going to go very simple and tie a knot this time so I don't interrupt the video too much. I had to cut that because my yarn got a little tangled, so I had to unnoodle the whole thing and make it into a ball. So for this row, now what we're doing is we are going to do 2 double crochets into each stitch all the way down. So 2 double crochets in each stitch. So in the next stitch, we're yarning over into the stitch, and then yarn over and into the same stitch again, double crochet. And so we're doing that all the way down the row, 2 double crochets in each stitch. And what will happen is that will automatically start to, when you do that, it will start to kind of create a little bit of a bulkiness, a little bit of a ruffliness. And so we're doing that all the way down this row. So you can see when we start adding those, it's going to want to build up a bit. So I did a couple more, but you can see where that starts to just bulk it up and it starts to create that ruffly edge. So that's all we're doing for this whole row. And so we can take our stitch marker out here as well, because we're no longer doing those 5 double crochets into the one. Oh, come here, little guy. So we're just gonna double crochet into all the stitches all the way down, and then on the last stitch, on the very last one, we're going to do 3 double crochets into that last one. So I will meet you guys back here with that, and then we'll move on to the next row. All right, so I just finished row 35. I keep checking back on the instructions to make sure I don't tell you guys anything wrong. So here is that 3 double crochet in that last stitch, and now we're going to turn the whole thing around. Took me a second to get all that yarn and shawl turned around. All right, so now for row 36, we're going to start doing a few different things. We're going to start counting a little bit differently, and we're doing a triple front post crochet stitch, which I will show you guys. You can also call it a treble. I think I was trying to decide if I was saying treble or triple. All right, so for row 36, the first thing we're going to do is we've turned our work, we're going to chain 3. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so now it is 1 double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. So we're not going into this same stitch as we have been. Okay, we're going to, well, hold that thought. Let me regroup on that. Yes, that's right. Okay, so I just wanted to look ahead. So now we're going to double crochet in the next 4. So double crochet just like we've been doing. 1, 2 in the next 3. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. 2, 3 for a set of 4. And I'm going to be posting all of the written things up here too. That's what I was thinking, because you should have a set of 4 is what they're getting at. So 4 double crochets. And now in the next 4 stitches, we're doing a triple front post crochet. So when we're working in the front post, these are our posts, okay? And when we're doing front post, that just means we're going around the back and the post is in the front. If we were doing back post, we would be skipping that one somehow. Okay, so it's basically we're putting this post in the front. Now a triple crochet stitch is going to be, where instead of wrapping it around once like with our double, we're wrapping the yarn around twice. We're going to go behind that post, bring it to the front, pull our yarn over and through that, and then we just have a bit of extra. So we have 4 loops instead of the 3. So we're going through once, twice, and 3 times. Okay, so that is our triple front post crochet. Okay, so we're doing that for 4 stitches. So we're going to do 3 more. So yarn over twice, bring right behind that post, yarn it over through the post. 1, 2, 3, and 2 more times. Yarn over. Three, and 1 more. All right, so now we have 4 double crochet, 4 triple front post crochet. So now working in sets of 4, we're going to just do double crochets in each of the next 4 stitches. So just yarn over once, and we're working in the stitches again. Okay, just our regular double crochets. 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so I think that's gonna create a really interesting pattern. It's so hard to tell from the photo. I know I need glasses too, but I think it's gonna create this really lovely raised texture right here. So it's kind of nice to see it coming to life. And that is the pattern for this row. So the whole row, let me pull some yarn here. So now we've done our 4 double crochets. Now we're just going to keep doing our triple front post crochet. So in the next, so we see where we're above this post. You see how that's kind of lined up. And so we're going to go in front of the next post. Boom, boom, and boom, all the way down the row for 4 more, and then we'll do our 4 double crochets, 4 triple front post crochets, and so on until we get all the way down the row. And it says that you should have, when finished, 51 groups of 4 triple crochet. So that means this is 1, and then this will be 2, so 51 of those all the way down the row. All right, so I'll meet you guys back here. All right, so now we are at the end of this row, and we are going to 1, 2, 3 chain, and we're reversing it a little bit. So we're going to do our 4 double crochets in the next 4 spaces. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just want to make sure I'm looking at it right. So our next 4 double crochets. And then instead of doing the front post triple crochet, we are going to do a back post triple crochet. So there's 3 and 4. All right, so now same thing. So for the next 4 posts, you can see how these kind of poke back a little bit. We're going to keep working in those, but now we're doing back post instead of front post. So again, we're going to wrap around twice, but instead of bringing this post to the front, or you can think about it as going in through the front to bring the post to the front, which is probably how most people think about it. We're going to go from the back into that space, and we're going to, I got all noodled up talking so much, so wrap around twice. We're going to go into the back right here. Okay, bring that post to the back. So we've got the post behind the hook. We're going to yarn over, bring it all through, and then finish that triple crochet stitch. So pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2. Okay, I feel like it's a little trickier to see from the back, so let me see if I can get it a little better for this one now that you know the steps. So we're wrapping the yarn around. Okay, we're coming in from the back, going around, so that post is in the back. We're going to yarn over, bring that through, okay, lift it up just a little bit, and then finish that stitch. So front post, back post, okay, again in through the back. Whoops, lost it. It happens. It's like trying to walk and chew gum when I'm talking and trying to make sure you can see it on the camera. Excuses, excuses, I know. All right, and it's just a matter of kind of getting the groove of it, right? And so then one more coming through that back. And then 4 double crochets, just 4 regular double crochets into the next 4, just as we did before, okay? So they're going to be lining up. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then we're going to do 4 back post double crochets. And so that's going to be the pattern there. Once you finish this row of back post double crochets, then you'll just repeat these 2 rows again. So then you'll do one more just like we did this with the 4 double crochet, 4 front post triple crochets, and then we're going to do one more with the 4 double crochets and 4 back post triple crochets as well. So you can see, let's flip this around a little bit. So you'll see where that starts to create that lovely ridge. So there's the front and the back, and we line them up that way, and that will create that lovely little ridge on there. So I'm going to finish this row and then do the next 2 rows, and I'll meet you guys back for the next, I think there's like 4 more rows after that, and they're all a little bit different, so we'll work through those together. See you back in a bit. Okay, welcome back, guys. So we are on this last stitch right here. And this is row 39, so it says to fasten this off. So I've done my last double crochet. I'm just going to yarn over, pull that through all the way, and then work my little tails in, all of my little tails. So I still have about this much yarn, just to kind of give you an idea. Let me roll that up. It's about this much yarn still left from that, and then there is a whole nother ball of yarn still. So let's have a little chat, shall we? So here is where we are so far, and I will show you what this fits like as well, how big it is. I'll put it around my shoulders, but I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a look at the general shape of it. It's very pretty. I like it. I like the ruffles at the bottom. I think it's very cute. I'm going to take all of these little tails, sew them in as we do. Let's get a little closer again. So I love how the stitching looks with the pattern, or with the, the colors of the yarn, rather, the pattern, how the pattern looks with the colors of the yarn. And you can see those really pretty ruffles, how we end up with those pretty ruffles. This would be the back side right here. So you can see how it just reverses it basically. I feel like people are always like front side, back. Oh, this is the back side. Sorry. This is the back side and this is the front. I thought that didn't look quite right. Let's flip it over. So this is the front. So you can really see how pretty those ruffles are. If you do end up wearing it the other way, it's still going to be okay. But one thing that I ran into, this video has taken me way longer than I had intended. And I'm gonna have to stop it here because I am having some serious issues with like my wrist all the way up my arm. I don't know if you can hear that on the camera. There's like a popping sort of situation that's happening, and right around probably the second to last row I started noticing that. I took a couple of days break. I ended up taking longer breaks in between, so I don't know what's happening here. I've been doing a lot of crochet, so I think it is just my body's way of telling me that between the crochet and all of the other things that I do, maybe I just need to take a pause from it. So the only thing we're missing here at this point, I actually like it like this as well. So it might sound like a cop-out or an excuse at this point, but the only thing we're missing here is, if you look at the picture, let me get a little bit of more of a close-up, is a second row of ruffles right here, which could be very cute. So basically what you're doing is you will count into row 29. All right, and so row 29 right here would be this little stripe right here. So we're gonna go, you would go to the beginning of that and you would just start anew and do another layer of ruffles just like this. So it's the same exact pattern as we did here. So if you are going to do that, I would just start your yarn in row 29, just like you would when you're adding yarn to anything else, and then go back and follow this pattern. But I'm gonna have to call it quits on this and really give my wrist and my arm a time, like a little bit of a break to heal and do some other things instead. So please forgive me on that, but I do like how it looks. So I'm gonna flip it around and show you guys what it looks like on. Okay, so here we go. So we're gonna fling this around the shoulders. Voila. Let me back up a little bit so you can really see it. Try to get in the camera. So I think it's very cute. Very cutesy, very demure, if you're on that trend. So, and let me stand up so you can see kind of like how it comes down to the back. So it's a nice length. I think it is cute as a little cover up. I'm going to probably wear it around the house maybe. I don't know. Like just a little around the house to keep me warm. I do like the colors. I feel like you could even, I have like some really big buttons. Let me see if I can find one of my big buttons. Sorry, I'm not especially stylish today. I was not actually planning on having my hair or my sweatpants on camera today, but here we are. So actually I have these cute little clay buttons that that I got from a lady at a craft show. They're raku. Super cute, super pretty. And I just put these little pins on the back of them. So there's just a thought. But yeah, I think like you could even take and just kind of like connect it over and pin it a little bit with a button. I don't know, this is my first shawl, so I'm not really an expert at this. You'll have to bear with me. There we go. Yeah, that's cute. I kind of like that. So I do like the ruffles, and also honestly on further introspection, I don't know, thinking about it again, I was gonna say this a second ago and lost my train of thought. I like just the one row of ruffles because this material is so thick. I feel like having another row of ruffles, like it could be cute for sure, but for myself personally, being a little bit of a larger woman, I don't know, I feel like it would make it feel too bulky for me to have another layer of this on there. I don't know, we'll see. I do still have this whole other ball of yarn, my little fairy. So maybe if when my wrist feels better, my arm feels better, I will add another layer, but I actually really do just like it with the one layer. I think this will be cute just in the winter time to wear around the house. Meanwhile, it is still 80 degrees here right now, and so I'm getting a little toasty, so I will definitely keep warm as well. So I hope you guys enjoy this. Let me know if you make this little pattern. She's cute, she's pretty, but definitely it is a nice weight of yarn too, I'm realizing now. I think it will definitely keep warm. So I hope you guys like that. In lieu of all the things, I am going to start doing more art videos and more drawing videos right now, and let everything else, let the crochet go to the wayside for a little while. But I'm going to be trying some other new things, other new techniques. I hope you guys will join if you're not already a subscriber and come hang out with us here. And also, just a side note, I have started a Patreon page. I haven't announced it yet, so I will probably do a separate video on that, but go check that out. I will link it in my little YouTube land area where it has like right on the banner. I'm struggling with the words today, clearly, you guys. And there's the Hazel. The ADHD is strong today. Pardon. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments if you make this or if you use like a different weight of yarn, maybe to make it a little lighter, I think would be really nice for this pattern as well. And I will put the whole pattern in the description as it is written on here, because I understand that sometimes my patterns might not make sense to everybody. I tend to rewrite things so that they make sense to my brain, but I will copy it down in the description below, as well as the yarn that I used, etc., etc. I think it's upside down, it's backwards in the video. It's the Caron cakes. So I hope you guys have a great day. Go forth, create. I'll see you soon.